Nicholas Sirez lives in Dnipro, Ukraine. He is from New Orleans originally, but bought an apartment in Dnipro where he moved with his Ukrainian fiancée 4 months ago. They decided to live in the city because they found the people nice and the area to be peaceful, according to Reason magazine.
Then, in the middle of the night on March 3rd, he woke up to hear that the nuclear power plant was under attack. Sirez said that he has been in a constant battle between whether he and his fiancée should stay or should they leave. For the past week, he said his life has been, quote, let's go, let's not go. Journalist and co-founder of PalomaMedia.com, Nancy Rommelmann, spoke to Sirez about what it's like to live under siege. She joins us now to discuss. Welcome, Nancy.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yes, we're so glad you could join us. And tell us, where you are, or as close to where you are right now as you want to say. You're in Ukraine. Can you share your journey there and how long you've been there?
Yeah, I'm in Lviv, so that's in the western part of the country. I'm about 70 kilometers from the Polish border. I've been here about 5 days. I had to cross over from Poland. That was a bit of an adventure, but I got here. Let's see if I can get out. But yeah, I've been here, and I interviewed that gentleman the first night I got here when I was still in Warsaw. I heard about his story and got him on the phone. And he told me what it was like, essentially, knowing that the nuclear power plant that is, within an hour's drive is on fire, but there's a curfew, so you can't leave your house, or you're not supposed to. I mean, this is just maddening. And so then he told me a little bit more about what it's been like in this country since February 24th, when Russia decided that they needed to invade.
Yeah, what has it been like? What did he tell you?
Well, he said it's been incredibly stressful. Nobody's sleeping. He's up at 3 o'clock in the morning trying to get what news he can. And, his fiance is Ukrainian. He was previously married to a Ukrainian, so, he has some experience in the country. His mother-in-law is in her 60s and doesn't want to leave her home. I've got to tell you, I'm here in Lviv. Everyone here, especially because Lviv is not under attack, and cross fingers it won't be. People don't want to leave their home, and what they also want to do? They want to fight, and they are fighting. I mean, everybody pretty much has a new career now, which is fighting for their country. In any case, in this gentleman's case, he just was so trying to figure out how to get people to safety, and yet they figure right now they're just going to stay where they are. Then that might be the safest place for them. So maybe it is, maybe it's not.
Is there any kind of conscription that you're aware of? Is that going on in the part of the country you're in as well? I know that Zelensky has called for all sort of able-bodied men to join the fight. What's going on where you are?
Yes, so 18 to 60 across the country, you are not allowed to leave the country. I actually was, when I was in Poland waiting to get on a train to come to Ukraine, I saw a lot of refugees that had just come off, and it was also all women, children, and older men, no young men whatsoever. So you actually can't leave the country. You actually are not required, but the volunteerism is insane. I spoke with someone, there's a new article up on Reason today. I spoke with a young IT engineer, and he's like, I'm in the reserves, and they might call me, but there's so many people volunteering that they probably won't. Also, I'm better used here doing IT. The country really wants us to keep the country going, keep the economy going, keep things as normal as we can. So they're very open to using people's strengths where they belong. But I've got to tell you, people are just in the streets. The roadblocks are being manned by basically, civilians. They've all decided we are going to protect our homeland, and they are. I mean, everyone. It's just a full effort to keep Ukraine safe for its citizens.
And do the people of Ukraine do they have a lot of weapons? Do they have? Does everybody have a rifle under their floorboards or something?
Well, they were, I don't know exactly who, but I do know in many parts of the country they were given said semi-automatic weapons. It's sort of like, you would go down to the 7-Eleven and get your Slurpee or something. They now have weapons. And they're going to have to learn how to use them. I forgot the first part of your question.
Yeah, I was just asking if they already had them, but you're saying they're being given out.
They do, and they're also just building them. I mean, you've all seen the stories of, everybody's making Molotov cocktails. They're making these things called hedgehogs, which are these sort of, crossed metal things that you stick in the road so the cars can't go. I mean, there's lots and lots of roadblocks around where I am, and it's made of everything, sticks and then I've also, concrete and stuff too. And, the children, I'm staying with someone, her 12-year-old, the schools are closed, but she goes to school every day and they make nets for the soldiers, to kind of camouflage. It really is an all-out effort to protect people.
And what else are they doing around the city? I saw that Lviv is kind of wrapping up a lot of statues and otherwise trying to take care of some cultural artifacts. Like, what other preparations are being made for an attack?
Well, I can't. I probably shouldn't say, and I probably don't know a whole lot about it. I was in Lviv proper yesterday. I'm a little bit outside of the city right now, and they have, they've got some beautiful churches. I was in St. Andrew's, which is a 15th century church. So they're kind of putting wood over some of the windows to protect it. But I have to say, in the streets, it looked sort of normal. I mean, you haven't had aggression here. You had people at cafes. I mean, I walked into a store, but I also today, I went to a refugee center. I bought some stuff to them and met some women that had come from across the country. One's mother's house had been bombed, a boy walking a dog in front. Just walking civilians was killed because they are shooting at civilians. I think I remember the first part of your question, Robbie, was like, do they have weapons? Do they have enough weapons? I got to tell you, every single person says to me, please tell your country, we can do this on our own. We have people, but we need weapons. I was sitting with the mayor of this province where I am yesterday, and he's like, we don't need bodies. We need weapons.
That's fascinating. So it must be, horrifying to see this beautiful art, architecture, a country with such a vibrant, culture being, slowly destroyed from one corner to the other by these invading forces. Are there a lot of refugees where you're staying, and they're trying to get, into Poland and other places?
Well, I think it's over 1.5 million now. I did see a bunch getting into Poland, and I have to tell you, I mean, the women I interviewed today that I was hanging out with, I gave them some stuff. They literally came with a backpack, like a little child's backpack. That's all they had, because they were literally fleeing, people being shot in the street. I guess people are passing through Lviv. They really are trying to get to Poland. But I will also tell you that a lot of people I've spoken to saying, we're not leaving. No, we're not leaving. And they can completely understand if you want to get your wife or your children or your older folks. But even a lot of the women here, they're like, nope, I am staying here and I am defending my country. They are very, very adamant about that.
And your reference to the Church of St. Andrew is a reminder of some of the other tragedies that are associated with all wars, because these are, the legend is St. Andrew, the brother of St. Peter, apostle of Christ, traveled to the Ukrainian, what became the Ukrainian region, during his lifetime, and that's what that church is named after. But it's just this breathtakingly beautiful artifact, and to think that it might just be leveled.
It really is, that's exactly right. I walked in there yesterday and I was like, oh my God, that this could be, and what a waste, and for what? Right,
to survive this long.
That's the other thing everybody is saying. It's like it's just lies, and we're just here trying to live our lives. We don't want this war.
Is there a sense or an awareness among the people you're interacting with, Ukrainians, that it's not likely that the U.S. is going to intervene to the level that Zelensky, for instance, has requested with the no-fly zone, with us actually, shooting down Russian planes? We're extremely unlikely to do that, most people accept that that's not a line we can cross because of the risk of World War III. Do the people you talk to, are they understanding that, the cavalry to that extent is not coming, even though we're trying to do all these, other things to corner Putin and dissuade him from doing this?
Well, I'll tell you a couple of things I hear over and over and over. Number one, what I already said, they don't even want American bodies on the ground here. They want weapons. Number two, they're extremely grateful to the United States for the weapon we already have provided over the years and are just questioning more. They think the sanctions are great, but what Americans don't know, and I'm actually going to write about this today, is that almost all of Russia is extremely poor. 70% of them they don't have indoor plumbing. They don't even have gas. They sell natural gas, but they don't have it themselves. So the sanctions are not going to affect the average Russian person because they don't have the things that we're holding back. And they just want to be able to fight for themselves. That's the message. Just help us fight. Help us fight, but not with bodies, just with weapons. It's just the constant message that I'm getting.
Right. Well, Nancy, thanks so much for taking some time to join us.
Thank you for having me.
Right. Up next, we'll discuss new polling on Russia's energy, on the ban on Russian energy, and President Biden's handling of the situation. Stay tuned for that.